Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here with another weekly review video. Going to be having a chat with Johnny and see what has caught his attention this week in Spain. So let's go to the video. All right, Johnny, how are you this week?
Yeah, good. Enjoying a day off work today. That's why sunlight is on my face and no backlighting today. And of course, we've got the holiday tomorrow in Madrid as well. So nice long weekend. How about you, Stu?
That is true. We are recording the video a bit earlier today, given your work situation. But the weather has changed. Not as warm today as it has been over the last week or so.
Not at all. So I went out to play a game of basketball, shorts, t-shirt. Went out and was surprised by the cold I was met with.
There's an expression in Spanish about the changing weather this time of the year. Do you know what it's called? Hasta el 40 de mayo, no te quitas el sayo. Do you know that expression?
I have heard that, yeah. I can't remember who told me, but I feel like I've heard that before, yeah.
Just basically, it means until the 10th of June, the weather is unpredictable.
Yeah, I think in Madrid particularly, we've seen just about every season so far this year, from extreme snow to quite warm weather. Yeah,
we've gone from one extreme to the other. Yeah, and the weather's been quite good. Let's be honest, but we won't talk too much about that. Now, what's on the agenda today, Johnny?
Yeah, so having a look through the main newspapers, the main the press as you do, something came up about mental health. So Spain is one of the countries in Europe where the most, I think the translation is tranquilizing medicines are consumed in Europe.
Yeah.
And with the pandemic, of course, that's been accentuated. So I think 41% of people who responded to a survey by the CIS said they had sleeping problems. 52% are feeling tired or with little energy. 40% with symptoms of depression and 30% with anxiety. And then a bit further down the article, there was kind of a breakdown by socioeconomic group of what their different worries were. And as you would expect, it was kind of the lower ends of that scale that had greater worry than people at the top.
Of course, I imagine that's always been the case. Yeah, people down the bottom of the socioeconomic scale, as they say, obviously dealing with those day-to-day problems in a worse way than people at the top. Fairly obvious. Mm-hmm. I suppose that happens everywhere. But I was reading in the paper this morning, and I was going to speak about it, but something else popped up. But Spain is also, I think, together with Portugal, one of the countries in Europe where the most amount of drugs for these issues are taken.
Exactly, yeah. That's exactly the same chart that I saw in this article. Both Spain and Portugal, top two countries up there.
Yeah, that's it. And it is related, I suppose, to the economy. At the end of the day, the threat that a lot of people constantly have that they're going to lose their jobs, or the low salaries, or the uncertainty of the labour market in the country. Very few people, comparatively speaking, have access to stable jobs. A lot of people kill for permanent work contracts in this country. A lot of people want to try to get into the public service. They spend years and years studying. A lot of people don't have those dreams realized. And of course, this can lead to those unfortunate mental health issues that we're talking about.
Unfortunately, yeah. And when you mention about the economy, that chart in the article showed the historic data. And the way Spain and Portugal moved right up to the top after 2008, it was very clear that there must be a link to the economy with that. And I think that, being locked at home, I think we had a very strict lockdown compared to other countries, and not being able to go outside at all. That's obviously, of course, going to accentuate the ill effects that people have felt from the situation. I don't know how you felt at particular times during the lockdown. I won't go as far to say I was depressed, but I did feel very tired. Like, life was repetitive.
Yeah.
I was really feeling the lack of not having natural sunlight coming through my window. So it was a really tough time. And I'm sure a lot of people who experienced the lockdown here, probably felt similarly.
Well, of course, and this is in the news in recent times because a politician here in Madrid, Mr. Errejón, brought a petition to the parliament to try to get the parliament to talk about this particular issue. to get people talking about it. And he was met by one of the opposition groups. Somebody told him to sit down, shut up, and if he's sick, go and see a doctor. That was the reaction from one of the fellow politicians.
Yeah, it's a bit of an insensitive response.
That was the direct. That's what somebody yelled out to him yesterday when he tried to present this in the Congress here.
Yeah, I think we can't. It's something that we shouldn't ignore. You know, we try and stay as tough as we can, and we try to keep grinding on. But you know, all of us have probably suffered one way or another at the expense of
Absolutely.
the health crisis, and yeah, a lot of people suffering mentally as a result.
Absolutely, yeah, and these things shouldn't be spoken about lightly. I don't think there's always been a bit of a stigma associated to mental health. I don't have a lot of experience with it, so I can't really talk firsthand. But you watch a lot of the American movies and TV shows, and everybody's seeing a therapist, and everybody's talking about their issues. And I don't think a lot of that goes on here. I could be wrong. I think Spain is a culture where people like to talk about their problems with friends, and obviously during the lockdown that wasn't possible. People only had those ways to talk online to friends, and that social contact was missing for a lot of people. And then with the social distancing and all of those things that we have now, it's become an issue, but it's been building for a long time.
Yeah, it's a good point that you raise about the US. Yeah, I think even back in the UK, I don't think the same level of, at least while I was living there and growing up, yeah, it wasn't common to see a therapist necessarily, or it wasn't widely advertised or available, so to speak, from my experience.
I mean, I don't know if that happens in the States or not, but from every television program you watch, everybody always seems to be. I mean, it's fiction, obviously, but everybody seems to be dealing with their therapist, starting from Tony Soprano and The Sopranos all the way down to, I think they even did a show about it actually that was on Netflix for a while there. So it is something that maybe needs to be, I don't know, talked about as well, perhaps. Who knows?
We'll see, yeah.
All right, we'll move off that topic. We'll move on to, what was the next thing you had there?
So the economy. So the Madrid economy.
The economy, huh?
Yeah. So the Madrid economy actually had the strongest growth of all the autonomous communities in the fourth quarter, about 4.4% growth. Lifting up the national average. National average was 0.4% growth. And if you take
0.4, okay.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the rest of the autonomous communities, Catalonia was negative 0.5%, the Basque Country plus 0.5%, and Andalusia minus 0.3%. So
sorry, what did you say that Madrid figure was?
So it was 4.4% growth in the fourth quarter of 2020.
4.4 in that fourth quarter. So
yeah.
So Catalonia going backwards, and Spain, Madrid growing. Spain, I shouldn't say that. Madrid growing by 4%. Yeah, well, that's huge. Probably because, as we know, the economy was open.
Yeah, and another interesting stat for you. So they call it foreign investment in the article. I guess that's like money that from tourists that have been able to come during that time. There was 5.3 billion euros that came in, and of that, 4.3 billion was spent in Madrid. So that works out at 8 out of every 10 euros spent by a foreign tourist was spent in Madrid in that last quarter.
Well, that was the only place that they could spend their money, I presume. Yeah.
Yeah, I put it down to restrictions as well.
Well, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, and it's been a fairly common topic in the videos that I do daily, that there are French people in Madrid. There are people coming down to spend the weekend. There are people coming down to spend their money in this part of the world because it has been open. It's been the debate that a lot of people have been talking about. You know, why is Madrid staying open when the other 16 places around the country are closing down? Why is Madrid doing things differently? Do you put the economy first? Do you put the health situation first? That's been the debate from the beginning. And Madrid's the only place in Spain to do it. And if you look at it from an economy point of view, you could probably say, well, fantastic. But of course, are the health numbers there to back that up?
Yeah,
Who knows?
that's the other side of the argument. And going back to the tourist thing, I feel like so every time I turn on the TV to watch Netflix, Amazon Prime or whatever, my default channel is La Una, and I always tend to turn it on maybe around lunchtime some days. And there's always this program, Las Cosas Claras, where it's,
Yeah.
it's a talk show, and I think at least twice this week has come on the topic of French tourists or tourists from elsewhere in Europe coming to Spain. And
Yeah.
yeah, the reactions from them is like, oh yeah, great, amazing, Madrid is open, having a great time, can't do any of this at home. But a lot of them, people living in Madrid, obviously a bit bothered or a bit frustrated by it. It
Yeah,
makes sense, yeah.
Well, the frustration comes from the fact that, okay, foreign tourists are coming to Madrid, but people from Madrid are not allowed to travel anywhere. So that's one frustration. We're also not allowed to meet with people outside our family unit at home. The only place we can do that is if we go to a bar or a restaurant or some other type of place like that. And okay, yeah, great. The economy's going because people are moving and going to their jobs every day, and people are spending money, of course. But again, is that the best thing? Are we going to be sitting at an incidence rate with the coronavirus, Johnny, for the next 6 months in Madrid that we're going to have these restrictions? Do you know what I mean? Whereas maybe in Galicia, they've got it down to low numbers, or in Valencia, they've got it down to low numbers. And if they can maintain it, I don't know what the best solution is.
Yeah, I don't either. I wouldn't like to try and propose one way or the other because,
Well, I'm gonna say earlier in the week I was a little bit sick on Monday, and I had to spend most of the day in bed. And I tell you, when you're sick, you can't do anything anyway. So you just don't feel like doing anything. You don't feel like working. You don't feel like talking to people. You don't. I mean, it's the worst sensation. So
yeah.
So it's the dilemma that's been spoken about from since the beginning of this pandemic. And I don't know whether people are going to. I mean, there's elections coming up. I know you don't want to talk too much about politics, but it's all that people are talking about nowadays, and all of the polls are saying that the Madrid Premier is going to be re-elected in a landslide, maybe with a little bit of support from Vox. So obviously the Madrid population, your neighbours, Johnny, my neighbours, are going to vote for her in droves on the 4th or the 5th of March, 4th or 5th of May, whenever it is.
Yeah, we'll see what the result is. I don't think you or I can vote. I think as foreigners, maybe we're on the electoral. Well, yeah, on the Padrón, but yeah, I think as non-Spanish nationals, I don't think we have the right to vote in these elections.
No, we do not. We do not. Therefore, yeah. No, we do not. No, so we can only listen to what people tell us, and Spanish people are open about who they vote for. I mean, you ask everybody I know tells you, the first thing they say is, yo voy a votar, USA. That's the first thing they say. People are proud to tell you who they vote for here. There's no dramas with that. So I'm sure we're gonna get a good sense of who people are going to vote for in May, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it. Yeah, the economy, the Madrid economy, and it's always been a strong economy. I mean, Madrid has been the motor of the country for years and years. I mean, that's nothing new. But when those other two areas, Catalonia, the Basque Country, start to slow down, Madrid gets that advantage, and that's also going to lead in the problem most likely to more and more people coming here and leaving those other areas.
Yeah. Time will tell, I suppose. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, it's been the trend, and I suppose that if the only place that creates jobs is Madrid, it's most likely going to happen. But anyway, all right, Johnny, what else we got?
Yeah, so we got the Champions League. I know you're not a big sports or football fan. I enjoy football.
I'm a sports fan, but I'm just not a La Liga or really a round ball football fan.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy football. I wouldn't say I watch La Liga every weekend, but the big games I'll watch from time to time. And speaking of the big games, so there's the Champions League quarterfinals coming up. It was the round of 16, I think, or the round of 8 that just happened.
Yeah.
4 Spanish teams, only one left standing, and that's Real Madrid. So Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Sevilla all knocked out in their rounds.
Yeah, do you have a team here? Do you follow anyone?
So there's two teams I like here. I like Real Madrid, but I also like Athletic Bilbao.
Oh, okay, so
So
you like
yeah,
Bilbao and Madrid, yeah, Real
yeah.
Madrid, yeah. My family, my son and my girlfriend are huge Atletico supporters, and whenever there's tension in the house, it's because Atletico de Madrid is losing a game. And last night there was tension because they were losing. And this morning I said, "What happened to Atletico?" And they said that Chelsea were just too big and too strong, and Atletico just looked too tired, and out they go because they just probably, I don't know enough to talk about it very much, but they just probably just don't
Yeah.
have the personnel or the players to get through such a tough season, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the matchups that every team had, so Real Madrid had Atalanta, an Italian team. Atletico had Chelsea, which is obviously a tough team in England. Sevilla was playing against Borussia Dortmund, another strong team in Germany. And then Barcelona, PSG. It's a bit of an evenish game, but Barcelona from La Remontada years is not the same as Barcelona today. And PSG, I think, have improved considerably since then.
And
Um,
the Italian team you mentioned, are they strong?
They may be one of the better ones in Italy, but when I think Italian football, I think Juventus,
Yeah,
maybe
the
Inter, and
classics. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend always says that Real Madrid manipulate the balls when they're going around, and they always get an easy draw in the Champions League. That's why they've won it 13 or however many times, and we could talk about that another day as well. But
yeah,
they have been very successful in that particular competition because I mean it's a mini competition. You show up every now and again, you play a good game, and you can win an important title. It's not the slog of the season, you know.
yeah. Of course, yeah,
But that's it.
yeah,
And football, of course, no crowd still. They said today that for the King's Cup final between the two Basque teams, there's going to be no crowd. So again,
yeah. Yeah, I think that's the game that was meant to be played last year that was postponed. And also, I think this year's Copa del Rey is played a couple of weeks after that. So that's Bilbao again and Barcelona. But yeah, no crowds. That's what I've seen in the news as well.
yeah. So no news on when they're getting crowds back. But obviously, again, we can go back to that high incidence rate in Madrid, 225. They're not going to allow crowds with numbers like that. I mean, in Australia, they're just starting the football season again, and there's crowds back for the first time in a year, I think, and 50% capacity. But again, they've managed to get the virus numbers down to virtually zero and keep it out, which is what we haven't been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this, I think, in one of our previous interviews, a series called Six Dreams, where it follows different La Liga clubs and the players, and it follows the season that led up to, the lockdown and
Yeah.
all the restrictions and stuff. And, as a viewer, knowing what's coming, it's kind of scary when you see, the cases are going on. It's giving you the background, and then you see, Atletico Madrid traveling to Liverpool, Liverpool fans traveling to Madrid, packed stadiums,
Yep.
and
Yep.
yeah, knowing kind of the outcome, it's
That,
scary to watch.
that's on Amazon, is it?
It's on Amazon
Yeah.
Prime, yeah.
There's also a series about the Australian Football League, also a sort of a fly on the wall series that's just been put out. They did a cricket one a couple of years ago about the Ashes tour, the Australian Ashes tour to England. Are you a cricket fan, Johnny?
Not so much of a
No.
cricket fan, no.
So they did a one about the Ashes, where I think Australia won that Ashes series. So they did a documentary about that, and they've done a fly on the wall series about the AFL as well, which I'm watching at the moment. So it's quite good. Anybody interested in AFL football should check that out. But Amazon doing a lot of these sports programs, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm finding that as a lot of the Spanish teams are popping up on Amazon Prime as well, just in these documentary style
Yeah.
series on the sport. So,
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah, the same format around the world. All right,
Yeah.
good one, Johnny. We'll wrap it up.
Yeah. Good talk today, Stu.
Yeah, good one, and we'll be in contact for next week.
Perfect. I'll speak to you then.
All
Have a
right,
good
see you
one.
later. Have a good day. Bye.
All right.
So there you go. That was the weekly review video here in Spain. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. During the week, if you ever have anything that you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments section. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.